Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I am Muhammad Atiqur Rahman, lecturer in English. Today we are here to discuss our topic on what is conflict from your English first paper. I think it is your first class after your exam. I think all of you have done well in your exam. We have discussed our previous classes, and I think you have read those topics very well. Though we are passing a very dangerous situation, a pandemic situation, we cannot meet in our classes, and we have to continue our study through our distance learning. Okay, dear students, let's start our topic. You will get it at Unit 10, Lesson 2 of your book. Today our topic is what is conflict. I think all of you know about conflict. We face this situation in our everyday life. To explain conflict, at first I am going to narrate a story, explain a story. Suppose there are two friends named Rana and Kabir. Both of them are best friends, and they were working in the same team to complete an assignment. One day they were asked to complete a particular project assigned to them by their supervisor. But at one point when they were going to complete the project, there was a major clash in their understanding. Both could not agree to each other's opinion. Rana wanted to execute the project in a particular way, which did not go well with Kabir. The outcome of the difference in their opinions was a conflict between the two friends, and now both of them just cannot stand each other. The dissimilarity in the interest, thought process, nature and attitude of Rana and Kabir gave rise to a conflict between them. So, we see how the two friends cannot agree each other at one point, and a conflict arises between them. Today our topic is what is conflict. Let's start from our textbook. We find that it is written below: conflict can be described as a disagreement among groups or individuals characterized by antagonism and hostility. This is usually fueled by the opposition of one party to another in an attempt to reach an object different from that of the other party. The elements involved in the conflict have varied sets of principles and values, thus allowing a conflict to arise. That means what we get from these lines: whenever two individuals opine in different ways, a conflict arises. In a layman's language, conflict is nothing but a fight either between two individuals or among group members. No two individuals can think alike, and there is definitely a difference in their thought, thinking process, as well as their understanding. Disagreements among individuals led to a conflict and fights. Conflict arises whenever individuals have different values, opinions, needs, interests, and are unable to find a middle way. Let's go to the next slide to read the text. Conflict can be defined in many ways, but one of the simplest is that it pertains to the opposing ideas and actions of different entities, resulting in an antagonistic state. Conflict is an inevitable part of life. All of us possess our own opinions, ideas, and set of beliefs. So, the statement is alike the before. Later we find we have our own ways of looking at things and we act according to what we think is proper. Hence, we often find ourselves in conflict in different scenarios. It may involve other individuals, groups, or people, or groups of people, or a struggle within our own selves. Consequently, conflict influences our actions and decisions in one way or another. That means, conflict is defined as a clash between individuals arising out of a difference in thought process, attitude, understanding, interests, requirements, and even something of perceptions, sometimes perceptions. A conflict results in heated arguments. Sometimes it may run up to physical abuses and definitely loss of peace and harmony. A conflict can actually change relationships. Friends can become foes as a result of conflict, just as in the case of Rana and COVID that we discussed previously. Conflict may occur between two persons, between countries, between states, between continents. Later, if we go through the text, we find that conflict comes natural. That means conflict is a natural thing. It happens in our everyday life. It happens in our society. It happens in the world. The clashing of thoughts and ideas is a part of the human experience. It is true that it can be destructive if left uncontrolled. However, it should not be seen as something that can only cause negative things to transpire. It is a way to come up with more meaningful realizations that can certainly be helpful to the individuals involved. Conflict can be seen as an opportunity for learning and understanding our differences. We can all live harmoniously despite conflicts as long as we know how to responsibly manage these struggles. When there is a clash of thoughts, ideas, then conflict arises. It is very destructive. Conflict is very destructive if we leave it uncontrolled, if we cannot manage it, but it has some good sides also. If we can maintain it, if we can control it, some good things may arise from it. It is a way to come up with more meaningful realizations. it may give you a good solution of something. Like a debate is arranged to find out solutions. Debate is also a kind of conflict, we know. A conflict is resolved when the inconsistency between wishes and actions of parties is resolved. Negotiation is an important part of conflict resolution, and any design of a process which tries to incorporate positive conflicts from the start needs to be cautious not to let it degenerate into the negative types of conflict. Conflict is rarely seen as constructive. However, it is certain contexts. In certain contexts, it is helpful also, such as competition in sports. Moderate levels of conflict can be seen as being mutually beneficial, facilitating understanding, tolerance, learning, and effectiveness. So, sometimes conflict can give good solution of something. There are many positive effects of conflict, like social change, decision making, reconciliation, group unity, group cooperation, inspiring creativity, share and respect each other's opinions, improve future communication, and identify new members. Conflict plays a good role, a vital role to change a society. If we think it positively, then positive things come out of it, and we can apply it to construct a society, to change a society. Sometimes the members of a certain group cannot make decisions. When they arrange debates, when they give ideas, contradictory ideas, it helps them to make a good solution. Sometimes conflict ends with a reconciliation. It helps to unify groups, to cooperate groups. So there are many good sides of conflict. We cannot leave it only to the destructive side. Causes and types of conflict. Let's go to the text again. According to an American psychologist, conflicts are basically of three types arising out of three different causes. They are, at first, it is seen that economic conflict. We know that resources in this world are limited. So, groups or individuals come into conflict with each other to possess as much of these resources as possible. Because everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to be happy, they think for their future, and to possess this, they come into conflict, they come into contradiction with each other, thus bringing forth a hostile behaviors among those that are involved. Later, it is seen that value conflict. Value means the belief that one cherishes in his mind. At first, let's see what is given in the text. It is concerned with the varied preferences and ideologies that people have as their principles. Conflicts driven by this factor are demonstrated in wars, wherein separate parties have their separate sets of beliefs that they assert in an aggressive manner. Everybody cherishes his own ideal within himself. When they want to express it, then there comes a contradiction, because there are varied preferences and ideologies among people. When they want to expose, demonstrate, apply their beliefs, their values on others or in societies, then comes the point of power, and thus they engaged themselves in various types of wars. Power conflict. It occurs when the parties involved intended to maximize what influence they have in the social setting. Such a situation can happen among individuals, groups, or even nations. Everybody wants to establish his power in society, we know that, and when they go to apply this, then the opposition power comes, because they don't want to accept the power of others inflicted on them. So both of the parties are involved in conflicts. Conflicts are also classified into the four following types. At first, it is seen that interpersonal conflict. This type of conflict refers to a conflict between two individuals. This occurs typically because of differences among people. Apparently, it is a natural occurrence which can eventually help in personal growth or developing our relationships with others. Interpersonal means not within the man himself. It means more than one man when these two men are involved in conflict, that is interpersonal conflict, because there are differences among them, between them. So conflict arises between persons. Then comes intrapersonal conflict. There is a difference between interpersonal conflict and intrapersonal conflict, because intrapersonal conflict is the conflict that occurs within individuals. The text says that it occurs within an individual. The experience takes place in the person's mind. Hence, it is a type of conflict that is psychological, involving the individual's thoughts, values, principles, and emotions. That means it happens within a man when he cannot take the decision of what to do, which way should he follow, which ideal he or she should take. Then a conflict arises within himself or herself. It is called intrapersonal, not between two persons. It happens, that means it occurs within himself, within the man alone. Then comes the point of intra-group conflict. The text says that it is a type of conflict that happens among individuals within a team. It arises from interpersonal disagreements or differences in views and ideas. Within a team, conflict can be helpful in coming up with decisions which will eventually allow the members to reach their objectives as a team. However, if the degree of conflict disrupts harmony among the members, then some serious guidance from different party will be needed for it to be settled. Intra-group, that means when the members of a certain groups are involved in conflict with one another, then this problem arises. When more than one or two persons are involved in one team, there may be the differences among themselves, differences among their ideologies, differences among their thoughts, and none of them want to accept others' views. Sometimes it is helpful, sometimes it becomes dangerous. If they do it to find out solution, then it is helpful for them. But if they leave it uncontrolled, then it may result in dangerous situation. Later, the final one is intergroup conflict. The intergroup conflict takes place when a misunderstanding arises among different teams within an organization. This is due to the varied sets of goals and interests of these different groups. In addition, competition also contributes to intergroup conflicts. We have read interpersonal conflict and intrapersonal conflict. Likewise, when the members of the same team are involved in conflicts, that is intra-group conflict. But when more than one groups are involved in conflict, that is called intergroup conflict. That is the text here. After all, sometimes conflict are good, sometimes conflicts are bad, because conflict sometimes helps us to find out solution if it is maintained, if it is controlled. But if it is uncontrolled, it becomes dangerous. Let's try to make a summary from this text, because sometimes sometimes you have to answer the summary from your text, and it is very important topic from which summary may come to your exam. What is summary? Summary does not mean the total. Summary does not mean the total thing, total portion of the text. When the best parts or the main thoughts are expressed in a short form, that is called summary. Sometimes we use one or more sentences to explain a thing, to explain one thing. When the question about summary comes, we need to complete that in one sentence. We cannot express more than one sentence to express the idea. And to make a summary, we shouldn't use big sentences. We should try to express the main idea in a short form of sentence. We should avoid examples to write a summary. Here is an example of summary is given for you. Let's start what is given here. Okay, let's start the summary. A conflict is a clash of interest. The basis of conflict may vary, but it is always a part of society. Basis of conflict may be personal, racial, class, caste, political, and international. Conflict in groups often follows a specific course. Routine group interaction is first disrupted by an initial conflict, often caused by difference of opinion, disagreements between members, or scarcity of resources. At this point, the group is no longer united and may split into coalitions. This period of conflict escalation in some cases give way to the conflict resolution steps, after which the group can eventually return to a routine group interactions. Conflict is rarely seen as constructive. However, in certain contexts, it is moderate, such as competition in sports. Moderate levels of conflict can be seen as being mutually beneficial, facilitating understanding, tolerance, learning, and effectiveness. Conflict is related to disagreements in viewpoints and opinion about a particular task in group settings. It is associated with two interrelated and beneficial effects. The first is group decision quality. Task conflict encourages greater cognitive understanding of the issue being discussed. This leads to better decision making for the groups that use task conflict. The second is effective acceptance of group decisions. Task conflicts can lead to increased satisfaction with the group decision and a desire to stay in the group. Okay, we have something more to study, like vocabulary. This text contains many vocabulary. Let's read those. At first, we see conflict. Conflict means, if we say in Bengali, it is সংঘাত. The synonyms of conflict is clash, and antonym is peace, harmony, etc. Describe means বর্ণনা করা. Synonym of describe is illustrate, depict, and antonym is conceal. Disagreement means মতানৈক্য. The synonyms of disagreement are disputes, antagonisms, and antonyms are harmony, agreement. Characterize means বিশেষভাবে চিহ্নিত করা. The synonyms of this word are identify, symbolize, and antonyms are confuse, mix up. Antagonism means বিরোধিতা. Synonym of antagonism is hostility. uh, and antonyms are agreement, friendship. Antipathy is also a synonym of antagonism. Hostility means boirita. Synonyms are intrigue, animosity, and antonyms are peace, friendship. Fuel means indhan সরবরাহ করা. Synonym is initiate. Principle means নৈতিক বিধিবিধান, and synonyms are belief, axiom. Allow means মেনে নেওয়া বা স্বীকার করা. Synonyms are acknowledge, antonyms deny. Define means নিরূপণ করা, সংজ্ঞায়িত করা. Its synonym is explain. Ascertain is another synonym of it. Antonyms are hide, tangle. Pertain means অধিকারভুক্ত হওয়া বা অংশ হিসাবে যুক্ত করা. Synonyms are connect, belong. Antonyms are divide, disjoin. Inevitable means অনিবার্য. Synonyms imminent, sure, inflexible. Antonyms are uncertain, unsure. Transpire means ঘটা. Synonym is happen. Harmoniously means মিলেমিশে. Synonym unitedly, accordingly. Antonyms are inharmoniously. Sorry, only one antonym is given here, that is inharmoniously. Psychologist, that means monobigyani. Synonym of this word is psychoanalyst. Demonstrate, synonym of this word is manifest. Another synonym is indicate. Antonym is confuse. Assert means কর্তৃত্ব প্রদর্শন করা, প্রকাশ করা. Synonym is affirm. Antonym is abandon or hide. Occur means ঘটা. Synonym of this word is happen. That means take place. Maximize সর্বোচ্চ পরিমাণ বাড়ানো. Synonym of this word is enlarge, expand. Antonym is maximize. Classify means শ্রেণীভুক্ত করা. Synonym of this word is categorize. Sorry, only one synonym is given here, categorize. Antonym is unify. Apparently means স্পষ্টত, প্রতীয়মান. Synonym is allegedly and antonym is dubiously. Disrupt means ব্যাহত করা. Synonym is impeded. Antonym is help. Guidance, পথ নির্দেশনা. Synonym is counseling. Settle means শান্ত করা, স্থির করা, সমাধান করা. Synonym is determine. Confirm is another synonym. Antonym is neglect, hostile. Competition, that means প্রতিযোগিতা. The synonym of this word is contest. Fight is another synonym. Antonym is peace, agreement. Contribute, করতে সাহায্য করা. Synonym is commit, provide. Antonym is oppose or hurt. Thank you very much for today. Thank you all.